Hey there, everyone. We just got the latest reading on the playoff scenario. That's right. We just now got word from the playoff scenario people. And this is going to be big because a lot of teams can clinch their playoff scenarios. And now I'm going to explain what this is. Okay, we're starting off with the Pittsburgh Steelers because it's just the same as before. To clinch the AFC North, they need to win against the Indianapolis Colts or hope the New York Jets, who finally got a victory last week, ends up defeating Cleveland Browns, or hope that both games end in a tie. See that? That's the quickest second for Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, since Tennessee Titans is all the way at the bottom, I can start up with them. Because I have to flip back and forth. To clinch a playoff berth, the Tennessee Titans, they need to beat the Green Bay Packers or hope one of these things happen. 1. Miami Dolphins have to lose to Las Vegas Raiders. So, even if Marcus Mariota isn't playing, root for the Raiders. Or 2, Baltimore Ravens fall to the New York Giants. Or 3, both the Giants and Ravens game and the Titans and Packers game have to end in a tie. But if the Tennessee Titans can get a win and hope the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are suffering a 3-game losing streak, defeat the Indianapolis Colts, then the Tennessee Titans will clinch the AFC South. And that's basically much it on Steelers and Titans. Now let's move on to the other teams. The Cleveland Browns first. They have a chance to clinch the playoff berth. They are up against the New York Jets, and here's the following. They need a win, but they also need the following from other games. Cleveland Browns need a loss or a tie from either the Baltimore Ravens or the Miami Dolphins. A loss or a tie from either of those two teams. Or they just need Indianapolis Colts to lose to Pittsburgh Steelers. These three scenarios will help. One of these three scenarios will help the Cleveland Browns get a playoff spot if they win. But if they tie, then they just need the following 2. Either Baltimore or Miami Dolphins have to lose. So, clearly Cleveland Browns have to root for either the Las Vegas Raiders or the New York Giants as well. But they also might want to root for the Pittsburgh Steelers as well, and hope they finally end their losing streak. Speaking of the Indianapolis Colts, we now move on to them. The Colts, they can clinch the playoff spot this week with their victory over the Pittsburgh Steelers, but they also need a loss or a tie from the Baltimore Ravens or the Miami Dolphins. If they tie, they just need either Ravens or Dolphins to lose. And now we move on to the Kansas City Chiefs. They can clinch the first round bye week this week. And here are the scenarios. They need to win or tie this week. The Chiefs got the Atlanta Falcons. So if they win or tie with them, they're in. Or there's other scenarios. They need Pittsburgh Steelers to either lose or tie with the Indianapolis Colts. Then there's another thing. Or they can hope Buffalo Bills lose or tie with the New England Patriots. Or they can clinch the strength of victory tiebreaker over Pittsburgh Steelers or Buffalo Bills? Now we move on to the NFC, and believe me, there's a lot of teams on there. Let's start off with Washington football team. That game has been flexed. And it's all the way at the bottom. Here's how it goes down. Washington football team can clinch the NFC East title this week if they win or New York Giants lose or tie with the Baltimore Ravens. If Washington ties, they just need New York Giants to lose. But they also need the Philadelphia Eagles and Dallas Cowboys game to end in a tie. Yeah, that's basically the crazy scenario. So if Washington ties, they're going to have to watch the Eagles and Cowboys. They're going to have to hope the Eagles and Cowboys end in a tie if before then. Yeah. Now let's move on to Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay Buccaneers can clinch their playoff scenario if they win or tie this week. They are at Detroit. So if they win or tie, they go to the playoffs. Or they hope Chicago Bears lose or tie with the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I'm pretty certain that's not going to happen. And now we move on to Seattle Seahawks. This one's an easy one. If Seattle Seahawks wins against the Los Angeles Rams, they clinch the NFC West. That's pretty much the only scenario Seattle has. Now moving on to Los Angeles Rams. They need to win or tie with Seattle, or Chicago Bears lose or tie with the Jaguars, or Arizona Cardinals win or tie. Any of those scenarios happen can clinch the playoff berth for the Los Angeles Rams. Now we move on to the Green Bay Packers, who are playing the Tennessee Titans, and I hope none of those scenarios happen. Anyways, if the Green Bay Packers pull off any of those scenarios, which I hope that doesn't happen because they're playing the Titans. Packers. They can clinch the first round bye this week if they beat the Titans. But they also need Seattle Seahawks to lose or tie with the Los Angeles Rams, or if they tie with the Tennessee Titans, they just need New Orleans Saints to lose or tie. Or Seattle Seahawks lose or tie. But if both Seahawks and Saints games end in a tie, then they can't clinch the first round bye week this week. I really hope that the Tennessee Titans don't open this one up. Seriously. Now let's move on to the final team, the Arizona Cardinals. They play the San Francisco 49ers. They can clinch the playoff berth with an Arizona Cardinals victory or plus a Chicago Bears loss or tie. But if it ends in a tie, they just need Chicago to lose. Yeah, and that's basically all that's in on the playoff scenarios this week. Please feel free to like this video the minute it premieres. Hope to see you all next time.